What's up, everybody?
My name is Jeff.
Yes, that one. And welcome to another episode of Something Amazing. It's been a while since we've done one, but I thought in today's episode, I'll talk about something I've been using a lot of in the last few months, and that's the Canon L series 24 to 105 f4 image stabilized ultrasonic motor lens. That's a mouthful, actually. Let's get into it. Like I've mentioned, it's been a while since we've done an episode on the channel, and one of the main reasons for that is obviously I have a day job from Monday to Friday, and on weekends I've been doing a lot of photography work for DJ Deluxe on tour, and I've hardly been at home. We've been around the country, and I've been doing a lot of photography and video work for him. And one of the lenses I've taken, or the lens I've always taken with me, is this Canon 24 to 105 f4 image stabilized lens, and the main reason for that is because it's so versatile, and having this wide focal range, you can take photos from wide angle to telephoto, obviously taking portraits, landscapes, etc., close-ups, etc., etc., etc. One of the reasons you should actually consider getting this lens is obviously the price point that this comes in. This is a second-hand lens. I got this towards the end of last year from Outdoor Photo. I paid around 7,500 for it because it was almost new. But I've seen these sell for as low as 5,000 to 6,000 rand on some of the South African reselling websites. So if you're on a budget, you should really consider this lens. The second thing, being an L series lens, obviously you're going to get amazing build quality. So this has a lot of metal and hard plastic components, and it's extremely durable, and you know it's going to last you a very long time. At the base of the lens, you've got a metal mount, and it has a rubber O-ring around the end of the mount. That rubber O-ring makes the lens dust and water resistant. However, it is not waterproof. These lenses, however, do suffer, I've read about it, of something called zoom creep. So if you're walking around with your lens, eventually the lens starts opening up. However, I haven't had that issue on this particular lens, but there is an easy fix for it. Around the zoom ring, you can put something called a lens band, which is basically those rubber armbands, and then you can fit that around the bottom of the lens, and that keeps it in place. Another feature that it lacks, obviously, compared to the second generation of this model, is a zoom lock function, which you can also find on other brands like Sigma, etc., etc. So at the lowest or the widest focal length, which is 24 millimeters, you can lock the lens in position there. The manual focus ring of this lens feels extremely smooth. It's buttery smooth, and it's very easy to use. It has an ultrasonic motor, so changing focus from subject to subject is extremely fast in operation. However, it's not ideal for video, especially if you're using a shotgun microphone on top of the in the hot shoe of your camera, because it sometimes can pick up those ultrasonic motor noises. It's not as quiet as obviously the STM motor, that STM motors on some of the other Canon lenses, which are ideal for video because they're basically silent. And the next thing with these L series lenses, obviously the glass components, or the components within the lens. So this has one super ultra dispersion glass element and 3 aspherical glass elements, and all of that together gives you these extremely sharp and crisp images. So I got this paired up with a crop sensor body, so obviously that gives me a wider focal length up to about 168 millimeters, and I use a speed light. So I do majority of my shooting obviously at night events, so within nightclubs, bars, and I've done some weddings outdoor at night, etc., etc. And with that paired up with the speed light, you're not going to have any issues because the images are going to be well exposed, etc., etc. I have, however, used this for video work as well in these low light environments, and you know, some people would say you must go for f2.8, etc., etc., but I found that the video quality wasn't that bad, and this lens seems to work extremely well within those low light situations. And being at a constant f4 is like one of the lowest, obviously, apertures you want to go for, especially if you're not shooting just portraits. So if you're doing group photos, etc., to make sure that everybody within that picture or video is extremely sharp. But you can get good bokeh or depth of field out of a f4 lens, and the bokeh from the f4 lens is extremely soft, and I like that for one particular reason, because sometimes you find on these f1.8s or f2.8 apertures that give you a much larger depth of field, the bokeh becomes, it's too much, if I can say anything. I prefer the softer bokeh because it doesn't take the viewer's eye away from the main focus, which is your subject. Another thing with this lens is that it has image stabilization. So on the generation 1 model, which is this one, it has 3 stops of image stabilization, and on the Gen 2 it has 4 stops of image stabilization. Now this is great for, especially for me, because I got a low-end body and I don't have a body with in-body image stabilization or IBIS, because those camera bodies usually come in at a much higher price point, and I do a lot of handheld shooting, so I don't use a gimbal, etc. And having that image stabilization built into the lens really helps keep that footage steady and stable, so there's not jumping all over the place. A downside to this lens, obviously, is it's quite heavy. It comes in at 670 grams, and over time, if you're shooting the entire day, entire night, you can get a lot of hand fatigue or feel tired carrying around this heavy lens. At times, it also paired up with my Canon 200D body, which is extremely light. It can feel unbalanced because the front of the camera with this heavy lens feels a lot heavier than the back. But I've gotten used to carrying that around with me, and I'm able to go through an entire night of shooting without getting any hand fatigue, and obviously keeping that stabilized when shooting. Yeah, so that's just a very quick review of this 24-105 lens. It's really something you should consider if you're looking for a budget, high quality piece of glass that's going to elevate your photography and videography game to the next level. L series lenses, you can't go wrong with them, and these coming in second-hand at an extremely good price point, it should be on everyone's bucket list. Yeah, I'm really glad with this purchase, and I don't think anyone else would have any issues with this. By the way, if you've used this lens before or you've seen the footage, tell me what you think about it down in the comments section. Also comment and let us know if there's any other lenses that would be a good comparison or an alternative to this lens to buy. And let me know your thoughts, obviously, on f4 versus f2.8 for low light photography and videography. And yeah, be sure to follow all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc. And if you'd like to know what we're actually getting up to, I post a lot on Instagram stories on our production page, which is calafro_production. And down in the description box down below, I will obviously link those videos, our video product reviews, obviously, of the Canon 200D and the Yongnuo 968EX speed light, which is actually paired up to this lens, which I take on the road with me all the time. It is my stable go-to setup. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.